Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And we are on episode 37. Yes, we are. And we got some jokes to talk about, right? Some jokes. We got some, how do I put this? I don't think I'll wear a brand ever again after these conversations for the fifth time, clearly. You know what I mean? And then we're going to talk about influence and the Migos. Okay? Yes, we are. Moose, how are we feeling about this episode?
Man, the game is changing and more the blueprint is being revealed. So it evens the playing field. I'm ready to jump right into it.
Let's get into this intro.
Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And you already know what time it is. It's the review of the week. And I found it I normally don't show emojis love. I don't know why not, because I love emojis. But this review literally has hand claps, about 3 of them. So there's way more than 3, but you know.
Clap, clap, clap.
Clap, clap,
yep.
clap. Always emoji fire, right? And always dropping the emoji gems. All right. Shout out to everybody who leaves us a review. We read them, we love them, and get on our podcast. We clearly read one every single week. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But how are we feeling, Moose?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Y'all know I've been out in Florida for a little bit, so this is my last week here, but things have been great, man. I'm excited to get rolling with this. I've been studying low key. I've been sending Nicky some things, and I'm kind of like staying a little bit more on the lookout. And I'm ready to share what I got for this week.
I'm excited, but I gotta go with a joke first. So let's start off with this, right? This is, for those who are brand new, shout out to all our new listeners, right? We go over the importance of, brands and business, the pretty much breaking down the blueprint of some of these top brands, celebrities, influencers, right? And this what shows when you have a really established, dope, successful brand, you could do whatever in the world you want. Just like what I am showing on the screen right now for all our YouTube viewers. Shout out to y'all. Y'all see what I'm seeing. But for our audio people, Balenciaga unveils new Crocs collab featuring stiletto clogs. Which, for our audio listeners, if you have not, just Google Balenciaga and Crocs. It is literally a croc with a heel.
Simply put.
Seriously, these ugly, I will say ugly, I'm sorry. Ugly yet very comfortable shoe wear. With looks like just a rubber heel.
Was a price shared on that? Please don't tell me it's a crazy price.
I don't know. Do I still have it up somewhere? I don't know if they had a price. I was just so amazed because you know what was funny, right? This reminded me of when people started to customize Jordans and make them into heels. Remember that phase?
Yep.
Right? Yep. So people were like, oh, this is real. And they were like, no, this is fake. Jordan would never make something like this. So I thought originally this is a whole lie. This is a complete lie. This can't happen. But it was on all the blogs.
Wow.
I didn't know what to think. Like, why would Balenciaga and Crocs combine to make that? Like, whoever
Do this
buys
collab.
that, shout out to you. I don't necessarily. I don't see myself. I don't see myself buying it. No, not going to. But not even on the flip side. You know what? Now I wonder. Let me see if I could look it up as we speak. I wonder what that would cost, because if that costs,
I'd want to
Did you
know the
find it?
cost. And the reason why I'm asking is because I looked up, before we jumped on, I looked up the average price for a pair of Crocs. The average price for a pair of Crocs was $22, right? Some a little bit higher, some a little bit lower, but for the most part, the average is $22. The average pair for Balenciagas is anywhere between $500 and $600. So it's like, okay, hold up a second. Yeah.
so
Crazy price gap. Yeah.
So shout out to Complex real quick, because I looked it up, right? And it says with the first collab, the $850 platform clogs had reportedly sold out before even being readily available in stores.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So if you're trying to tell me, if you're used to paying $22 for a pair of I can't even call them shoes. I was about to say shoes. I had to stop myself.
Wow.
If you're used to paying $22, you're gonna go drop $800 because they put a yeah. Interesting.
All right. So if you have,
I was gonna say the only business lesson I can extract from it, though, is just the amount of pairs of Crocs that were sold and why it was beneficial for Balenciaga to collab with them. There could be a lesson here, right? So they're actually a very popular shoe in Florida, and I really didn't realize this until, just because it just so happens I'm spending the time out here. But I looked it up. They sold 19 million pairs of Crocs in the last year. 19 million pairs. That's crazy.
all right.
That's crazy. So I could see, like, we always talk about a brand going younger to expand their reach or whatever. So I could see Balenciaga doing that. Like, yo, okay, I know we got a premium brand. We make $1 million in revenue or $1 billion in revenue, but I don't know that we sold 19 million pairs of Balenciaga sneakers. But these folks right here, it's interesting how stuff like that works.
Listen, that's what I said. Once you're super established and you're successful, you can pull out anything, and people are going to buy it because of your name, not necessarily because of the quality, and not necessarily because of what it does. It's really because what? No, I'm not. It's weird.
Crazy.
It's weird. But shout out to Balenciaga and Crocs. I don't.
Shout out to y'all pulling it off.
Yeah. Y'all really are robbers. We're gonna get into more robbers, but another drop that was surprising is, of course, one of my favorite people, Kanye West. All right, I promise you, somehow, some way, I always bring him up every month. But the conversation, and we've gone over this in past episodes, of Yeezy and Gap, right? Well, earlier they said it wasn't going to come out for like a whole year, but I believe it was his birthday this past Monday. Yeah. And he dropped a jacket, a blue recyclable jacket. Sold it for $200. Now, that's not what I really want to talk about. What I really want to talk about is that he literally made Gap take everything down from their Instagram and only show the jacket. Only show the jacket. Like,
crazy.
you probably had a whole guap of posts. You have 3.1 million followers before, well, maybe a little bit because of Kanye, but you were heavily established before Kanye. And this man literally made them take everything down. Is incredible. Super incredible. And now when you go into gap.com, that's not necessarily the case, right? But it's the first thing you see, right? It's the first thing you see. Now, I think, so here's the thing with this one. Because I kind of study Kanye a tad bit, right? When he drops a sneaker, right, on his website, there's nothing else that you see besides that one sneaker. That's it. There's no distractions. There's no like, oh, okay, you dropped this, but maybe I wanted this, or you still have this in stock. He makes all the focus on that one particular sneaker, and that is it. And in which, when all the focus is there, you're going to buy it. So he's probably was like, you know what? We're going to try this on Gap. We're going to say, first off, it's a surprise, right? Like all my sneakers, none of my sneakers have true release dates. So we're going to try the same method that has been working for me over here. I'm going to work it over here and see if it works as well. And it did, because it sold out. A $200 blue recyclable bubble jacket by Gap.
Not to mention that it's a jacket that's being dropped in the summer. It's June. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the type of stuff you see in September, October. My man's dropping it for the summer season.
Big facts.
So that is, that's very interesting. But that's a great point, though. I mean, the fact that you can have that much pull around a brand that you're collaborating with, so much so that even their profile pic doesn't say Gap. It now says Yeezy, right? Like, it shows that Yeezy logo, which is crazy. It's like, man, that's shout out to him for being able to pull that off. But it almost makes me question, like, man, is Gap really on the verge of failing, that they want to put all their eggs behind Kanye and say, all right, help us stay alive. Like, we're on the way out. Help us stay alive. Nicky's sipping the low tea. I don't know. That was one of the thoughts that came to my mind too. Like, man, you are gonna let go of, because, like, think of it this way. Imagine somebody comes and collaborates with them, and let's say they've had tremendous success in their arena or behind what they've done. But we've created a body of work here too. Does that mean we're gonna erase all of our YouTube videos, all of our podcast episodes, just because we got, I don't know, Michael Jordan back from retirement or whatever it is? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Nicky's like, I mean, if it's MJ, I don't know, man.
We got to see the ROI on that. What are we doing?
That.
What are we doing?
Spoken like a true business person. I like that. She said, if the numbers make sense, though, we might just have to swallow our pride.
Listen, after this next segment,
Facts.
That's really what I'm talking about. But let's be honest. The Gap was very famous, in 90s, early 2000s, maybe, whatever. Or in 2021, ain't nobody talk about nothing of a G or a P or anything of an A for a while, right? Nothing from Gap. It's been real quiet for them. And I don't know necessarily why, but it's been very quiet. And now that they have Yeezy, who we can't front as if is not one of the most influential people in hip hop. Really, I don't know necessarily in fashion in totality just yet, but guarantee his track record shows I drop something, it sells out. I drop something, it sells out. It is what it is, right? And so I can't get mad that they dropped everything just to see if it worked, because what was working before? It was quiet. So let's, you know what? Let's try this. And if it doesn't work, you know what? We'll put more pictures. We have these pictures. Again, we could drop them anytime. Now, I'm confused. So we're recording this Thursday. I think that was a Monday drop. I'm confused if it's sold out, why it's still up. Yeah. I'm very confused by that. But in all actuality, at the end of the day, the fact that he used his formula that works for Yeezy and brought it to Yeezy Gap really shows that, maybe sometimes if we want something to sell, we need to get rid of all the distractions. Maybe that's what we're doing wrong. Maybe we're giving too many people too many options. Maybe saying, even if it didn't sell out, get it out of the website. Get it out. You can bring it back later, right? But I like that method, and I'm going to see if we could figure out how to do that somehow, some way with our stuff. You know what I mean? Gotta figure that out.
That's a good idea though, because like, even if you just were to archive all of your posts on a drop one time, and like just put all the attention to that one thing, and then unarchive them after, like, doesn't hurt to try. Yeah.
Facts. All day. But let's get into the robbery of the year. Now, of course, last episode we spoke about Mayweather and Logan Paul fighting, and it happened, and okay. And I'm gonna try not to bring my boxing life into this podcast. However, there was an interview, post-fight interview that Mayweather did that we're going to play that will make this all make sense and made me like have whole new goals. So let's get into that.
And they say, well, it's not all about the money. Well, your kids can't eat legacy. The patches on my trunks, that's 30 million alone. So who's really the smartest one in the sport of boxing? If you guys don't want to see me do no exhibitions, don't come, don't watch. When it comes to legalized bank robbing, I'm the best. I don't care if y'all write good stories. I don't care if y'all write bad stories. At the end of the day, I will always have the last laugh. Damn, I'm writing this story about Floyd. But look at the house I go to. And look at the house he go to. Then all the guys that y'all said was extraordinary, the Canelos and the Pacquiaos, I made them look ordinary. And then when I see it's a chance for me to do a heist, a quick heist, at the end of the day, I'm the smart one. They say, oh, Floyd don't look good like he used to look. My bank account looking better and better each and every day.
Go ahead, Moose.
Wow. There's really a lot of lessons to extract from this, man. Like the first thing that immediately comes to mind is that he's really positioned himself as an act that's tough to miss, right? Like regardless of how you feel about what he's doing and who he is, like, because I feel like Floyd, for the most part, let's just say 70% of his career, bare minimum, he's been hated. He's taunting. He's always trash talking. He's flashy. All he cares about is money. Look at what he's doing, right? Like all along. Now it's all he's doing is exhibition. He's not bringing out judges. So he's always been a relatively hated fighter. But what I give him a lot of credit for is doing enough work on himself to honestly not care about people's opinions. Right? Because while everyone is caught up in the limelights and what is actually happening, and we think that some of this is just like, oh yeah, he's just trying to do whatever. The way you hear this man talk, it's like he really got all of his ducks in a row. Like everything is accounted for. Every move, there's a reason behind it. Nothing is just a coincidence. for the most part, right? I'm sure there are some things that, are working out in his favor, but it really seems as though there are a lot of things that are strategically positioned to work out in his favor, and he does not care what you're going to think. So it's himself, his family first. And then if you just so happen to be, in luck and catch some of that favor, then so be it. If not, he's not going out of his way to satisfy anyone's needs. So that's the first thing that I see that I'm like, wow, shout out to you for doing enough work on yourself to really make it work. Now, the second part of that, of course, 30 million on the trunks, like I said, to me, it's like you have positioned yourself to be such a tough act to miss. You've created such high demand for yourself that even in your exhibition fights, you're going to pull, and I think the number was 1 million people bought the pay-per-view.
Yep.
All right. Not to mention, I was another. Indeed, we hear about the fight as well. So just between us two, there's 2 people here who bought the fight. All right. Not to mention the people who went to the actual fight, right, in Miami. So like between it all, there's a lot of opportunity for him to continue to make money, which is, I hate to say it, but can you blame him? If you had an opportunity, I think one number that was thrown out is like every time he really does what he wants on a fight, he can walk away with something like 350 million. It's with everything. Crazy. With everything combined, can you blame him? So that's the part where I'm like, I'm me personally, I'm saying, yo, don't get caught being a consumer again next time. Like he's clearly just showed his cards. He said, yo, this is what I'm about moving forward. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. If you get upset next time because he fights and he pulls this off again, that's on you. You just fell for the trick. My man just showed you the game. He said, yo, if you don't want to come, don't come. But this is what I'm doing because I'm out here robbing banks legally.
Yeah, and listen, he I think it was on Earn Your Leisure where it almost sounded like hypocritical where he was just like, nah, I ain't fighting again. I've done what all I needed to do. However, for a YouTuber, for easy 50 mil, give me that, right? And the crazy thing is that he made 30 mil off of his trunks.
Crazy.
He could have just walked. That whole thing. He didn't have to do a punch. He didn't have to do anything. And he made 30 mil just off what he was wearing. Right? And as a boxing fan, yeah, I didn't like this whole thing. I didn't like it at all. But from a person who is also business minded, like we were live literally right before, and I was like, okay, I'm changing hats. I'm like, unless you
not
are
showing brands.
Right. Shout out to the people who did this chair. This is about to get blanked out too. So better take the screenshot of if you want to know what this chair is. This is about to get blanked out, right? Or maybe shout out to Isaiah, blur this out for me. You know what I mean? But the fact that he is taking the awareness of this fight, right? Understanding it was going to bring a lot of traffic. Understand that people were going to watch it to see what would happen if he was going to lose. How did he look? What would it do for the state of boxing? All that great stuff. Like, he didn't care. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this money over here. We're gonna do a pop-up shop. I saw his sons did a pop-up shop, sold out of that. His jewelry did the NFT. He took full advantage in every single angle and making sure his family took advantage in every single angle. Probably the documentary stuff, the vlogging stuff that they normally do, got a bag for that. You know, got a bag for certain interviews, got a bag for wearing certain things, got a bag for everything. He makes money from everything that he does. So is that a bad thing or a good thing? Like, some people don't do it just for the heart. Some people don't necessarily just do it for the love. Like, and here's the thing with boxing. It is a one person sport. So, and I think we went over this before, where it's not truly a bad thing that he's making these different things. The sport didn't really do anything for him personally. He did everything for himself in the sport. So what I mean by that is he has his own promotion company, right? When he was on Top Rank, I believe, caused him all this trouble. So he got out of it. So not only did he create his own promotion company, he created his own gear. He created his own media company to do the whole documentary stuff. He created everything and more businesses for his team. So of course, when it comes to the sport, he's like, I'm going to create more, just now in a different way. Now, the thing is, what I said earlier offline was, okay, we get it. If he touches the ring, it's only for money. Mm-hmm. And it is what it is. I think the level of mastery that I'm expecting from Floyd now is to do this legal robbery outside of the ring that makes us feel as if he's still inside the ring. Yeah. Right? And, you know, some will say, well, that's the whole point of having his own boxing promotion company and building up these fighters. Yay and nay, right? I think from an entertainment, if he's going to stay in this whole celebrity boxing thing, which I was truly hoping that era would really die, because I was really hoping that Floyd would have knocked him out. But it didn't happen. It's okay. I didn't really expect it, but I kind of did at the same time. But if he can create an atmosphere in an entertainment world where, I don't know, his spirit still lives. It could be a hologram, your hologram versus my hologram, right? And they're like, what? Holograms are fighting? What a kind of, like, I could see Floyd doing something like that. Let's do a model of my prime against your prime. And it be a video game that's literally in a ring.
That's dope. That's really cool. Floyd, cut a check.
Floyd, cut a check.
Cut a check, Floyd.
The money team,
Cut a check,
I'm
Floyd.
here for all ideas. I can think of ideas in 3 seconds for you guys. So if anybody knows anybody in the money team or Floyd personally, just say, Nikki says that you should be making that same amount of money outside of the ring, but it feels as it's inside the ring, and you have that ability to create anything, just like a video game of your prime against maybe one of your biggest rivalries in their prime.
Yeah.
And duke it out. Everybody still wants you to fight Pacquiao. Make it up to where both of y'all primes and see what happens. People will pay for that. People will be very confused, just like how they were with this YouTuber. But people will pay for that. Yeah. I'm just saying.
Crazy.
But I wanted to go over something. So we're not a music podcast, even though we do go over a lot of music people. Right? Mm-hmm. We don't necessarily talk about music as a career-wise, like, look at this single that came out, all that great stuff, and not come up with a lesson. And so we're still not going to do that. Still not a music podcast. However, Migos, by the time you listen to this, has dropped their third album, Culture 3, right? And the reason why I wanted to bring it up on the podcast today is because they literally created a new sound for like the decade, right? everybody that comes out is pretty much having this Migo flow. They are literally the group that no one can mess with right now. They have brands like doing deals with Popeye, Uber Eats, Champs, Beats by Dre. And I'm like, what makes them different, right? Bump the whole how they look, the lavish lifestyle, and all that great stuff. I mean, because at this point, anybody could look as if they have everything. So there had to be something, and there's a bit of lessons when you really go under the hood of the Migos, right? So we found a few clips, and let's talk about influence on this first one.
Because it's a lot of people, you know, salute all the groups in comparison, because I was seeing like little comparisons and stuff like that, but it's like, it's a certain way each person did it. That's why they were special in that time.
Right.
See what I'm saying? But our cadence is from 2013 to now. I don't care if it's a pop song or a country song, I don't care if it's a new artist coming out, they're gonna have that cadence, that how do we rap.
Right.
And at first, people didn't understand the cadence, so remember we had the mumble rap stage.
Right.
2013, it's mumble.
They thought it was mumble.
They thought it was mumble, but really they had not heard the cadence, the order of the how we bouncing off. So it's like, and when you hear new songs now, I don't care what genre it is, that bounce is in the flow. You can't do it without, a song ain't getting done without that in there.
So, I wanted to bring this up because, first off, the fact that we all thought mumble rap was a thing, and they literally just said, nah, that's not a thing. It's just you never heard the way this goes before. And listening to that and kind of breaking down, I'm like, nah, I didn't understand what y'all were saying, right? Same thing with, for those who are familiar with Young Thug, because he also, and Future also, the whole Atlanta scene at one point, I don't know if they said words at a certain period, right? But as you listen to the music now, right, and you've gotten used to hearing that particular, like he said, cadence, I'm listening to the music now. I don't think their cadence changed, but now I'm hearing words. So it makes me want to go back. And if any of the listeners want to hear that, go back. Tell me if they were saying words or not, right? And the threes that I meant, the Migos, Future, and Young Thug, tell me if they were saying words and now we're just trying to understand it. Maybe they were like above our time. Maybe we didn't understand that certain kind of culture, no pun intended, but didn't understand that kind of culture first. And they made it almost normal for us to recite that kind of cadence, to be a part of that kind of culture, to where, like they said, every genre has that kind of bounce. And it has created this wave of everybody sounding the same. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the fact that they are the originators, one of the originators for this sound, says a lot about them. I'm not going to go into too much of where hip hop is now as far as sounding like Migos, but giving them their flowers as far as you have created a sound. You made everybody understand more about Atlanta and that kind of culture more than anything else. Yes, we could give props, and no offense to, because I know we have a whole bunch of Atlanta people as listeners. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to y'all.
So this is not no shade or anything to those who are Future fans and Young Thug fans. They have their flowers as well. But the Migos, I think has done a lot, not only with who they've worked with, but the different genres they've worked with. And you have to look at that and like, yo, how? Like, truly, how did that happen? How did 3 individuals with just a bounce flow, truly Katy Perry and all those other different names, like, how did they attract them? How it doesn't matter what it was, the most bubblegum songs in the world, and you hear the most random ad-libs. This is what I will say. Their ad-libs are one of the best ad-libs ever in this world. I want somebody to fight me on that one. Fight me on that one. Listen, they're their own hype man. I think that's so dope. But overall, like, the influence that they have on music because of who they are and mastering that and making it so common is unbelievable. Yeah. The fact that we have to say, yo, was that mumble rap? Because it died. Like, we didn't hear about mumble rap ever again. Like, but it was the same people still relevant. Like, Migos didn't go nowhere. They took a little hiatus, but they didn't go nowhere. Young Thug didn't go nowhere. Future didn't go nowhere. But we're not saying there's mumble rap anymore. Yeah.
I think a big part of that is because they continued to make the music. Mm-hmm. You know, like you said, although they may have been on a little hiatus, they didn't come back with a completely different flow. Like, they didn't come back trying to switch up to bite maybe a J. Cole swag or a Kendrick swag. They're like, no, we just gonna keep putting it out there. And it's a lot like that song that you first hear on the radio. You're like, oh, this song terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and before Spotify and Apple Music and all that, where many of us reverted to the radio, after a while, they would kind of sell you on a song because they just kept on playing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, as I'm kind of like listening to you, because it's funny, like, and you know, there are certain things that I learned from even doing the podcast with you that I'm like, wow, maybe I need to get out a little bit more. Like that whole thing with Snoop Dogg that one time, which was hilarious. As I'm listening to the first time I heard Migos, but this was a while back. I'm just being honest.
If you know, go back to where we talked about Snoop's NFT. I'm not giving you the number. Go through our show notes. Go through nickyandmoose.com and just maybe search Snoop NFTs and you'll understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. And I remember when I first heard Amigos a couple years back, I'm like, oh, that's a person. They were like, no, that's a group. I'm like, oh, okay, got it. You know, but point is, now I do know who they are, and I'm learning more about them and how did they capture my attention? They kept the same sound, you know, like it's music like theirs that I feel, and I feel like maybe at some point we need to make a connection to this at one point as well too, but I think of artists who make music almost like if it's intentionally created for TikTok because of the TikTok dances, you know, like stuff like that. So I'd be interested to see like how their music does on TikTok as well, because I feel like although maybe one coast or one fan of music may not necessarily enjoy it, there's a whole nother generation or another entirely different coast that absolutely loves the sound of it. So yeah, those two things definitely are pretty interesting.
I think when you break it down with that cadence and how we can always know when Migos come in, I think there were a huge influence as well to the Baby, because the Baby has gotten and we may have to go over him one day, but so many people is like, yo, you gonna change up your cadence? Like you gonna change up your flow? Why you sound the same on every single song? But the crazy thing, he is another I would say top 5 rapper right now.
It's true. It's true.
And there was this, this is how I knew Outside was outside again. He did a concert in Orlando, and it looked like a whole audience of Coachella. Like,
wow.
And it was just the baby. And it was just crazy. But he never changes his flow. Migos don't change their flow. And I think that says a lot. I think they've molded some of these newer generations of rappers. And I do believe that Migos do need way more flowers than they have right now, even though their wrist and their neck and even their glasses say something different. Yeah. They gave themselves flowers. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think more people need to give them flowers. But more into this, for me, I'm big on going under the hood of certain things and always understanding when it comes to whether it's groups or, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say Migos are the GOATs just yet, right? I'm not going to say that, though they do feel that way. And I believe all you Atlanta listeners feel that way. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying I'm not going to say it just yet. But I do believe the team that is behind them are GOATs. The reason why I say that, the team who I mean is QC, Quality Control, right? Who is founded by Coach K and P, right? And these two individuals have not only responsible for Migos, but the Lil Yachty's, Lil Baby, who is top 2 probably rapper in this time right now. City Girls, you know, but there has to be, when you look at all these names that I just said, and 2 individuals, of course, their team as well, but 2 individuals clearly spearheading this situation, I had to break it down. I had to be like, what in the world is happening? How are you creating this? And I found 2 really interesting clips. One from when they were talking at Diddy's Revolt Summit, Music Summit, and one that they talked about in Complex early in the days. But they create brands. Let's just start there. They create brands. So this next clip, you'll understand why I had to pick it.
It's a lot of stat chasing, man. You know, to all you artists out here, just because you popping on Instagram and you know, you getting a lot of likes and comments and all that, you still got a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? Like, when we find something and sign it, most times we sign it from the beginning, the concept, you know, early. And we stick in with the artist and develop it until it turns into a brand. And I ain't gonna front. When we sit our artists down, we tell them straight up, we're not about to give you that check. But what we are about to do is put this check into you. You know what I'm saying? And by putting this check in you, we develop you, and then you create the check, and then we can continue to create the check. But we're not just going, hey man, here's all this money. Go ahead. No. No. We're gonna give you what's fair, you know what I'm saying, for you. And we're gonna put this back and behind you and put it in you so we can really turn you into a brand.
I feel like I'm gonna go into it, so I'm gonna let Moose go first.
Yeah, I like that bar though. He said, we're not gonna give you this check, pause, right? But we're gonna put the check into you, meaning like we're gonna reinvest the money back into you. I love that because it's like, yo, so many people are quick to make a little bit of money and just take off to the races, not realizing like, yo, that is nothing compared to what you need to sustain, hold on to, or put back into your business really to keep it going, right? So I love that they're like mindful of this idea of like, all right, we're letting you know, even though as our artist and we're responsible for helping you out, we're not going to give you the money up front. We're going to have to hold on to this money, reinvest it back into your brand and your business, and you'll thank us later for the lessons, that you acquire from it. And of course, the other part of it is for them, even as business people, they're not looking for just a talented artist. They are looking for someone who can be fully established into a brand. And I'm sure you'll talk on that part a little bit more. But I'm just thinking, for me as a business person, this is the best way to avoid like signing an artist that becomes a one-hit wonder, or someone who can just be hot for a season but can't necessarily duplicate themselves, or has to rely on one source of income to survive when there are so many different ways to monetize now. So I really like, like you said, getting under the hood, or really looking at the minds behind what is making these artists pop and stay relevant the way that they are, because it's not such a coincidence after all, man. Like, there's really something happening on a high level to make it click for everyone.
So what really stood out with this one when you said that, like, there are people who are going straight for the top tier already, right? They are willing to put money behind those who are already the best of the best, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. But they're saying, we invest in them early, like, and mold them, right? I think that in itself shows, like, this is where loyalty comes in. This is where, if we get you early and we mold you into the superstar that you are, with this formula, and it brings up to the point where are you going? Like, where are you going to go? You didn't have, where other people would be like, yo, you knew why you got me. You knew why I'm here.
Right.
Like, I could go anywhere now. Like, I got the leverage. You have money, but I have the leverage because I know why you seeked me out, right? But that just popped in my head when you said that. But the biggest thing that I got out of this one is that talent doesn't make brands. And let me break that down. I posted like a couple of days ago where it was saying likes and views doesn't mean you have a brand. And how he said it was inspired by this one, because he said, just because you're popular, right? Just because you're popular, you have likes, you're a little, you got a little fan base here and there, cool. That doesn't mean that we're going to sign you, that you're already established. It doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean a guaranteed check, right? There's so much more to building a brand that's going to last. Your music is going to have a deadline. Like, your talent may stop at some point depending on what you do, right? It may be only good for a season. Like, athletes, it's only good for a certain amount. Your talent is only good for a certain amount. But what are you building at the same time that is going to make your talent last longer for just legacy wise? Migos is like, at the end of the day, their name will ring on for years, decades after, right? Because of what they've established, how many charts they were on, who they've partnered with, what they've done for the culture, how they've even conquered Atlanta and just hip hop in total. And then from what he said with, we get them and we establish a brand. Let's talk about Lil Yachty real quick, where they got him as literally like a teenager who didn't smoke or drink. And they said, we could brand you. Brands are going to go into that. And when he was signed, only 6 months later, he had a Sprite deal.
Wow.
And when one brand comes in, more will come. So now they're saying, yo, you have a bit of talent, absolutely. But what we're going to try to do is make sure that your name rings out in households more than just in this culture, but worldwide. Let's start with Atlanta first, but then let's go nationwide. Then let's go worldwide. And they did that with each one. That not only, I'm still on Migos had Popeyes. Hear me? They have a Popeye deal and an Uber Eats deal. They're on Rap Snacks heavily. I think that whole, I think all of QC is on Rap Snacks, right? Little Baby has a little Rap Snack thing. Migos have like, what is it? Ranch and Dip or something. I forgot what it was. Dab. Sorry. Ranch and Dab. They just have deals that make no sense. That makes all the sense and no sense at the same time, right? And they did that because we're going to make sure that music is cool, but you can make money anywhere based off your name and based off your credibility. That says a lot. That and the fact that so many people are so focused that their talent would get them a check. They're like, yo, I'm not going to give you the check right away. I'm not giving you that. We're going to learn early that we have to reinvest. Early. You are going to be a business before anything. You're not going to be a typical little rapper that has its moment and that's it, and then you're broke. Right? You're not going to be maybe a phenomenon on social media and then you have nothing to show for it after it's done, after that season is done. We're going to reinvest it over and over again. And now you're on billboards everywhere. Now you're on commercials. Now you're on movies. Now you're doing everything in this entertainment world. You are dominating the entertainment world. We're going to get into that a little bit. But that says a lot to where talent doesn't instantly give you a brand. A team, investments, time makes that brand. Credibility, longevity brings that brand. Not just talent.
Some key ingredients right there. I see that. I see that.
We go further. But I want to get into this next clip, and then if we go further, we go further. But let's talk about being an underdog, because clearly I don't understand why they would think they were underdogs, but there is this bar. I'm big on now finding like serious bars now. Like that Deion Sanders one that I had to make sure we come back, right? So I found this bar that was still very good. Now, I don't know if it meets up to it. Y'all let me know. But you'll hear it.
Guys are the mainstream.
But but that's the thing. When you go to feeling like you the mainstream, that's when you crash. Like, we still feel like we the underdog. You understand what I'm saying? We going for world domination right now.
How much stock? What percent of stock share we need of the market?
We need 80% of the market share.
Now we got about 35% of the market share.
What does 80% of the market share look like?
Give us 24 months.
The hunger for something that is clearly yours already, right?
Yeah.
Clearly. Ain't nobody bigger than Migos. Ain't nobody bigger than Little Baby. Ain't nobody big, like QC kills it, right? And you're literally still saying that you're the underdog, and there's so much more market share to grab. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you've killed this lane. And let's just say with Migos only, right? You've killed the group's lane. You've killed the crossing over, which majority of artists would love to do. I even think Migos has a Spanish song. I gotta look it up. I would be highly shocked if they don't, right? But they've worked with the best. They've worked with all different types of genres, right? What more do they need to do? And maybe they dominated music, and this is where I go from, you dominate music with what you did. You've dominated hip hop for the other half, but now maybe are you trying to dominate the whole entertainment world? Because I know they have film, QC Films and QC Sports, right? They have kind of like that Rock Nation kind of vibe, right? So are you taking over everything entertainment? Are you going to get into, because I know Lil Baby, I don't know if he wanted to be in this role, but he is like this whole political person because he spoke about the protests, and now a few weeks ago he was in the White House.
White House.
Yeah. When it was the year anniversary of George Floyd, right? So I don't know if they're going to try to conquer that side of things, but there's so many people that are, and we spoke about it with the J. Cole thing, that you rap about everything that you wanted, and you have everything that you want, and you're number one, and you're killing the game. You could chill if you wanted to. But, and this is where they differ from J. Cole, because I don't believe J. Cole thinks he's an underdog. They're literally saying, nah. Now, here's my question, and some may think yay or nay on this one. Do they equal up or beat a Cash Money? Do they equal up or beat a Rockefeller? Right? So the only two record labels right now that people even recognize is QC and TDE. And TDE has Kendrick, right? But Kendrick has not put out anything recently, but there was a time where it was just like not like a battle, but in one of those interviews, the one where Coach was talking about branding, TDE was on that same stage. So it was
nice.
The behind the scenes of TDE and the behind the scenes of Quality Control. Those two, like from coast to coast, killed the game and had the best out there. TDE has SZA, TDE has J-Rock, TDE has Kendrick. There's one more. Schoolboy Q, right? So TDE has a strong formula as well. And that's by, what's his name? Oh man, I think it was Punch. Oh man, I think it is Punch, but I'll find out as Moose talks, right? Because I watched all his interviews too at that point. But to see that these new types of record labels are creating literally monsters, and branding monsters. The whole thing is now they can all create their own record labels. They can all do their own different things, because what I'm realizing when it comes to the difference between the top, not even the top, but rappers in general now, they're actually getting out of the game sooner because they're already putting their money in other things way sooner than before.
Yeah.
So I'm saying all this because they don't necessarily have to have the underdog vibe. They don't necessarily have to feel as if there's so much more to go for. But the fact that they do, like, I'm very curious what's going to happen in the future. And that interview was done years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And after that is when Little Baby and City Girls got really big.
So when they added more,
Mm-hmm. So they're duplicating this formula. And I know one thing, and this is because, I study this situation. But the City Girls, for those who don't know the City Girls, go look them up. Don't watch the video. That's all I'll say. Don't. I think their latest song is Twerkulator. Go at your own risk. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if you want to watch that. But I say all that because City Girls at one point is two females, right? And one of them actually went to jail. And while one of them was in jail was when they blew up. And the reason why is because QC made them work right before the chick had to go to jail. So they had all this content, all this music. And then when one of them finally hit, even though they put out a lot, one of them finally hit, right? The chick was already gone into jail. So one of them had to perform all the time, make sure their name, and made it very clear that I'm not going to say I think it was Young Miami, right? I'm not just going to say her. We're still going to say it's City Girls. I remember I went to Summer Jam and they said City Girls, and I'm almost contemplating like, yo, is the chick out? How's the City Girls? And Coach was like, yo, we did that because we wanted them to feel as if it is still a group. It's not just one person. It's still a group, and it would make it that much grand when she does come back, when JT does come back, right? And so the demand is even more because all you saw was one when they were popping. Imagine what happens when both of them are on stage. Imagine when both of them are back making music again. That's not coincidence. You knew exactly when she was going to jail. You made them work and do videos and all that great stuff prior to, so that was strategic, and you dropped them strategically. There's something to that. There's something to that. Not everybody 100%. Not everybody could do that. So you have to look at sometimes, and we're big on this podcast as far as the front end sometimes of just looking at the particular celebrity or artist or influencer and looking at that. But this time, instead of just looking at the Migos itself, we have to go back because the team is what's really creating this movement instead of just the Migos, not devaluing them or discrediting them because they are the talent and they are why we come and see them. But why we hear them in household name is because of Coach and P. Is because of the team from Quality Control. So if we was to break down more of these teams, you would probably understand a bit more how some of these talents then become brands. And I could definitely see it because I think, going off of even like their last line in terms of we don't give you the check, we put the check back into you, you could really see that it's a mentality thing, right? It's like, if we show you your riches now, the chances of you being able to continue to work and produce and stay committed to what we're creating can probably dwindle. Like, you mentioned J. Cole, and J. Cole kind of talked about it. Like that was the reason for him going back to that environment at, in Queens and going back to where he was when he was in college and getting back to his old producer. Like a lot of these things that he did was so that he can
almost get away from the comfortable lifestyle that he's been able to attain and enjoy because he didn't have that same drive. So part of that, I do believe that it's a mentality like, hey, I know we're at 35% of the market share right now. Let's push to 80%. So it really is, at least from what I see, a mentality standpoint. Let's push the threshold because much of our success, and this is the second part of it, because you mentioned, Young Money, Rockefeller, the second part of it is they're showing that they probably have the formula more than anything to keep groups together.
Facts.
Because that same interview, where Migos was speaking, they were kind of talking about like, man, there was a point where a lot of people were doubting whether or not we can actually stay together as a group, or even though we're siblings or whatever the case might be. But the fact that they survived that storm, like one of the things they were saying is like, we're grateful for each other. I'm grateful to be a part of this group. So I think the one thing that it's almost one of those things that you can't account for, right? It's not like a strategic, tactical, or technical thing that you can say, oh, it's because of this that they have that. You can't predict it. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's really the commitment to one another and to say, hey, although we've all expanded, grown brands and businesses and can go independent on our own, let's keep the commitment to one another. Let's stay together and let's see what we can really build from there. So I'm curious to see, to your point, Nix, I'm curious to see what happens 5-10 years from now. And can they really prove that they have the formula, more importantly, to stay together, and how that commitment to one another has helped them to expand? And I mean, at that market share, you're talking about a complete domination. I mean, there's not much left that can happen without having to go through them. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yep. Listen, you got to pay attention to these things. I literally have like a whole little notebook on Coach and NP. I literally do, because it was just like, yo, you keep doing this. And it's not like Migos has been on charts forever, right? Streaming crazy. Lil Yachty, crazy. Lil Baby this is arguably like we had the year of Drake, like the decade of Drake. They're saying that is probably going to be the decade of Lil Baby. Like, he doesn't go wrong in any of these verses. It's disgusting. It's horrible. Yeah. Not horrible in a bad way. And then what City Girls is doing, this is not normal. This is not normal. Like, you look at a Cash Money, and yes, you had Juvenile, right? And of course you had Lil Wayne, but the other ones didn't go. So then let's go look at Young Money, right? And Young Money, strong. Young Money had Drake. Young Money had Nicki, right? And then little trickles, like Tiger really didn't get famous till later, like off Young Money, I think. But there's two. So once again, Cash Money, well, I mean Hot Boys too, but that's more of a group, right? So they had 2 or 3. Young Money had 2 or 3. We'll think about Rockefeller had Jay, had the Beans, had the Whole State Property. Am I forgetting somebody? Did I say Bleak? I said Bleak. Did I say Bleak?
No.
Okay,
I don't
Bleak.
think so.
Okay, so that's a group. And like 2 other people, 2-3 people. I don't know if we want to count Jay. We have to count Jay for Rockefeller, right?
You have to.
Yeah, have to.
Yeah.
So 2-3 people. So they did good, right? Bad Boy. I'm just bringing up like.
Yeah.
Bad Boy had Biggie. Bad Boy had Diddy, because he was an artist.
True.
And then And I'm talking about standing power. I'm not necessarily talking about random, like they became cool and then they died. Like
Yeah.
the standing power. Everybody in QC has standing power. Like that's 4.
Yeah.
Like so that's three in a group. No, there's 2 groups. City Girls is a group. Migos is a group. Lil Yachty, Lil Baby. Like yeah. This is, you gotta pay attention to those little things. You gotta pay attention. But go follow us everywhere, Nicky and Moose. Shout out to our LinkedIn family. We got a little small LinkedIn family. You know what I mean? Shout out to y'all. Shout out to our Instagram and Facebook and Twitter people. Every Tuesday on YouTube, 8 p.m. we do a live show on YouTube. Last one was really fire.
Have been incredible.
They've been really great, and shout out to everybody who's been on there supporting us. So go check one of those out every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And Moose, final words.
Yeah, I can't get my mind off of 30 million on the trunks. I don't care what you guys think about me. You know, like that right there is a bar in itself. But what I've extracted from it is, honestly, we all have to do a better job of not putting so much emphasis on other people's opinion of us and wanting to deeply be liked by them. Right. At some point, you got to realize that no one's opinion is going to help you keep your lights on. Right. It's your ability to believe in what is best for me. And let me push that at the front of the agenda, because that's what's going to help you get to the next level.